Hello everybody, Coach Carroll here with SportsBanter38, and today I will be doing my college football preview starting with the Pac-12, and from there I'll be moving to the East. So if I'm sending you, I'm probably sending you this message. I could be sending you this video through a message on Facebook Messenger, simply because if I just post it on my page, Facebook does not like to show posts or statuses that have links that lead people away from Facebook. So for that reason, if I sent this to you in a messenger, it's just because I know, or I'm under the assumption that you are a sports fan or you like college football or any other sport that I may do a video on. So please, if this is you, just go to the as you're watching the video, add some dialogue. I'm trying to get good dialogue going, some good sports debates, discussions, and that sort of thing. So just subscribe to the channel if you don't mind. If you like the video, subscribe to the channel and share with friends who you think would be interested in this subject matter. For example, doing the Pac-12, there may be people who are interested in football who are from Pac-12 country or what have you, and they could probably chime in and give a little bit better of a take on this conference. Me being in SEC country, I'm more prone to know more about SEC. I follow it all pretty heavily, so I am familiar with the Pac-12 teams, but there are people who are more familiar with the day-to-day workings of that conference and teams in that conference. So I'd love to get feedback from anyone who is anywhere for that matter, but if we can get some Pac-12 people in here, that would be wonderful. You may not agree with my picks, and that's 100% fine. I want to know other people's takes on these conferences and these schedules and all that stuff. But if you could please like, comment, share. Let's get a good discussion going on how you feel about my picks for the Pac-12. And like I said, if I did send you a message in Facebook, just subscribe. And if you write on your messenger that you subscribed, then I won't send you any more messages to a video or links to the video through your messenger. I'm not trying to sell anything. I'm just trying to get good discussion going on this content. Alright, and without further ado, we're going to get started. And I'm going to start with the South Division, and we'll work our way from there. And I'm not going to go over every schedule per se, but there will be a few teams that I'll go through their schedule, and I'll let you know how well I think they're going to do, as far as wins and losses and that sort of thing. But I'm not going to do it on every team. And just for a guideline, I did get the Athlon magazine. It usually has everything in it, and it lets you know who's their picks and all those things. My picks aren't exactly like theirs, but they are somewhat similar. So starting in the South, on the bottom, I'm going to have Colorado. They're probably going to win 4 or 5 games or something like that. I'm not going to go into their schedule or anything like that. They're at the bottom of the Pac-12 basically. One team up from them would be Arizona State. I feel like Arizona State could win possibly 6 games, 7 games maybe. In my opinion, Herm Edwards is a big deal. I know a lot of people are saying, he hasn't been around college football in so long, and he's only coached in the NFL and this and that. But I believe the guy's a good coach. I believe he's going to be able to recruit well at Arizona State for their standards, and I believe kids are going to want to play for Herm Edwards. So, for that reason, they're not all the way on the bottom yet. Right now, starting out, I'd put Arizona State there. Number 4, we got UCLA with Chip Kelly coming in. And we got some additional info with the Bruins. Of course, they have a transfer quarterback, Wilton Spate from Michigan, as well as they have a big freshman recruit, Dorian Thompson-Robinson. He is supposed to be the ideal QB type that Chip Kelly likes to use in his fast-paced offense. Now, there's kind of a little bit of a debate going on. Does he want to win sooner than later, or does he want to start developing his team for the style that he likes to run? If he wants to win sooner, people are saying maybe Wilton Spate. They say if he's starting to prepare for the future, they would go with Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Sorry about that. And me personally, Chip Kelly, he does some crazy stuff. I wouldn't be surprised one bit if he starts right out with Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Spate is somewhat of a mobile quarterback, but as far as athletic ability, Dorian Thompson-Robinson is a lot more mobile. He's a lot more fit for Chip Kelly's offense. But that's definitely something in the Pac-12 to keep an eye on, to see if he goes with the kid, the freshman, and see how that plays out. All right, moving on. We're going to Arizona, and these guys, Arizona, they're not going to win this division. Like I said, I got them at third, and they have a quarterback in Kahil Tate. I'm sure some of you have saw him play last year. He kind of exploded onto the scene. Of course, Kevin Sumlin is the new coach over from Texas A&M. He could recruit well at Arizona. That could be a good thing for that school. But they're in position to actually compete with the top two in the South. So, with Tate at quarterback, you got a star. Anything can happen with that team. It's really hard to say. Some of you Arizona fans, please chime in. Let me know what your take is on the day-to-day goings of this team. Let me know how's it looking and all those good things. Let's get some discussion going in here. And moving on, number 2 in the South will be Utah. Of course, Utah with Kyle Whittingham as their coach, Tyler Huntley the quarterback. The Utes always show up strong. They're gonna be around 8 or 9 wins. I got them at number 2. They're gonna play some teams pretty tough. I'm gonna go ahead and go through their schedule just to give you an idea on what Utah is looking at. Okay, they start out with Weber State. That should be a win. Then they go to Northern Illinois. Should be a win. Then they got Washington. That's one that I personally believe they're going to lose to Washington. Washington's got a good team this year. They should beat Washington State. I believe they will lose to Stanford. I believe they'll lose to USC. And I believe they'll lose to Oregon as well. So that's about 4 losses I can see on their schedule. But out of those 4, it wouldn't surprise me at all if they were to split those or win one of those or what have you in that case. And, that would work out pretty well for them. And then let's move on to USC. USC is who I have winning the South division in the Pac-12, and their schedule. Let's see what they got going on over here. USC. There, I don't have USC schedule on here. I should have USC schedule on here. Oh, there it is. Okay. Alright. The big story with USC this year, they have the number 2 pro style quarterback in JT Daniels, and he is apparently pushing for starting position. You know, the other 2 guys in the race, it's pretty close. So, you know, of course, JT Daniels. Then they got Cameron Smith. He's a star linebacker coming back, as well as Porter Gustin, another good linebacker. One thing about USC, they have recruited extremely well the last several years. So this team does have a lot of talent. They could potentially contend for a playoff spot. Looking at their schedule, I believe they beat UNLV. It's kind of a toss up with Stanford. I don't know. They have the talent to beat Stanford, but Stanford with Coach Shaw is always well prepared. They always do it. They make few mistakes. It'll be hard for USC to beat Stanford, and it is at Stanford too, so that adds a little more difficulty to the task. And so, you know, like I said, I'm going to give them a loss to Stanford. Okay, then they go to Texas. I believe that'll be a good ball game, but I actually feel like USC has enough talent to win that one. They should beat Washington State. Arizona will be a tough game, but I believe they'll beat Arizona. They'll beat Colorado. Utah will be another team that'll give USC all they want, but they should win that one. I believe they will beat Arizona State. I believe they will beat Oregon State. They'll beat California. They'll beat UCLA. Notre Dame, I believe, will be a little too much for them. So let's see, Notre Dame, Stanford, Texas. They could lose 2 to 3 games. And that's where I'm at with USC right now. Okay. Moving on to the North Division. Excuse me. See what we got. So we got Oregon State on the bottom, followed by Washington State, California. Okay, then we got Oregon, and I'm going to go through Oregon's schedule real quick. Of course, they got Coach Cristobal, and quarterback Justin. It looks like Herbert, but I'm going to say it's pronounced Abert, Justin Abert. And he is a big-time player in the Pac-12. He looked really good last year, and I believe he should have a good season again this year. As far as Oregon's schedule, let's see. They should beat Bowling Green. They should beat Portland State. They should beat San Jose State. I believe. Excuse me. They go to Stanford, but I believe Stanford wins that game. Then I believe they beat California. They lose to Washington. They beat Washington State. They beat Arizona. They beat UCLA. They beat Utah, Arizona State, and Oregon State. So they look to be an 8 or 9 win team, which is going to be, it's be a good season for them. They should get a respectable bowl out of that. But I don't see them beating or winning this division. Next we go to Stanford. Now hold up. I'm sorry. We go to Washington next. I have Washington coming in second in this division. Okay, and the quarterback or coach for Washington is, of course, Chris Peterson. You remember him from the Boise State days. He did a lot of good things with lesser talent than a lot of teams. But I believe that with Jake Browning at quarterback, and of course they got Myles Gaskin at running back, a very good running back. I believe that Washington's going to be pretty darn good this year. A lot of people believe they will compete for a playoff, and if they could win this division, I agree as well. I'm not so sure they're going to win the division because personally I got Stanford picked in this division. I know it's probably not the popular pick, but that's who I believe is going to eke this division out. Washington, I got losing their first game to Auburn. That's on September 1st. To all you college football fans, that is a huge game. September 1st, 2nd, and I believe they got a game on. There's a game on the 3rd too. I'm not sure who's playing off the top of my head, but that is a big weekend for us who love college football. Washington, they've got Auburn at a neutral site, first game. I do not believe they're going to beat Auburn. Having said that, I believe it's going to be a hell of a game. They're going to give Auburn all they want, but I believe Auburn is going to be just a little too much for them. Next week, they go to North Dakota. Great FCS school. They will not have enough to really contend with Washington. Washington should win that game. Well, then Washington goes to Utah. I believe Washington beats Utah in a tough game. Then they go to Arizona State. They should beat Arizona State. They should beat BYU. They should beat UCLA. They have to go to Oregon. That game, it's hard to say. It could be a toss-up. They should beat Colorado. They should beat California. I believe they lose to Stanford. They should beat Oregon State, and they should beat Washington State. Washington State with an asterisk just because it's an in-state game. Rivalry going there, regardless how good either team is, the other team could win. So, Washington could be a 9 or 10 win team, and that's what I believe is going to happen. Then we go. Stanford will be, in my opinion, the winner of the North in this division. Yeah, Stanford will win the North. Okay. Of course, coach is David Shaw. David Shaw. Quarterback Davis Mills. He's basically your typical Stanford quarterback. He's gonna basically facilitate that offense. Just turn around and give it to their star Heisman front runner Bryce Love. I look for him to have a big year, barring injury. And, Stanford always plays tough defense. I feel like Stanford is going to be able to navigate their way through their schedule and be able to win most of their games. Week 1, San Diego State, they'll win that one. Week 2, they got USC at home. That's a big deal that they got them at home. I believe they will be able to pull that one out. They'll beat UC Davis. They go to Oregon. That'll be a tricky one. But you know what? I feel like they're going to be able to pull that one out as well. At Notre Dame, I believe that will be the one that they lose. That's going to be a hard, low-scoring game. But I believe Stanford pulls that one. Notre Dame will hold on for that one. I believe Stanford will beat Utah. They'll beat Arizona State. They'll beat Washington State. I believe they beat Washington, Oregon State, California, and UCLA. So, looking at their schedule, I see 1, maybe 2 losses. And I feel like they win the North Division in the Pac-12, which brings me to the Conference Championship. And in the Conference Championship, of course, we will have USC against Stanford. Okay, and it'll be the second time they play. each other this season because they got that early September game. And here is where things get a little tricky. I believe, I don't believe Stanford will beat USC again. I believe by the end of the season, USC will be clicking on all cylinders, and I believe their speed and athleticism will be a little too much for Stanford at that particular time. Early on in the year, they'll have USC at home. I believe USC will be breaking in a new quarterback. I believe JT Daniels will eventually emerge as the starter there. It could be by this game. If it's not, I'm not sure the other quarterbacks will be able to defeat Stanford early in the season. But by the time the Pac-12 championship rolls around, I believe it will be JT Daniels. I believe he will have settled in, and he's got very good weaponry there at wide receiver, running back. You know, they have recruited wonderfully the last few years, and USC will be very good, and I believe they will win the Pac-12 championship. Should be a great game, but I believe they're going to win that game with their athleticism and speed, and that will put USC in the top bowl game. As far as bowl games and all that, I'm not sure who I'm going with and where just yet, but that's all I got, guys, for the Pac-12. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share, comment. I want to get some discussion going on what you guys think as far as my picks. Do you guys agree, disagree? You know, it doesn't matter regardless. You know, I just want to get some dialogue going. I want to get some discussion going. My next video here in the next day or two will be the Big 12. I'll give you I'll go over the schedules of some of the teams. I'm not going to do every single schedule for every team, the top three or four from the conference, and then I'll give the conference champion and all those good things, and we will see you from there. Anyway, please like, share. Remember, if you got this through a Facebook message, just subscribe. That way you will have the video, or you'll be notified when the video for the next conference is uploaded, and then for all the videos thereafter. That way we can get good discussions and dialogue going, and also do some live videos. The more interaction we get, the sooner we'll be able to start doing the live stuff. And with that, guys, Coach Carroll is out, and thank you for watching SportsBanter38, and I will see you guys here in a couple days.